Today, we're going to talk about the Rodney Hinton Jr. situation, okay? It's such a tragic situation in Cincinnati, and off the top, my prayers really go out for the community, because at the end of the day, regardless of how you personally feel, there is a community that is unstable and that is hurting as a result of everything that has happened in Cincinnati, Ohio. And so first off the top, prayers to the city. And I think it's important for us to not get divided, because a community if it's divided, is going to not stand. Okay. And at the end of the day, we're better, stronger than we are divided. We are Americans. You know what I'm saying? We're born and raised here in this country, black, white, whatever. So we have to be able to have dialogue and come to a common understanding on the basis of what? The truth. Okay. And this is what we're here to discuss today. So first, I'm going to get into the facts of the case briefly, and then I'm going to give my opinion. Okay. So May 1st, 2025, Cincinnati police responded to reports of a stolen SUV in East Prince Hill. Officers encountered 18-year-old Ryan Hinton fleeing on foot. Body camera footage, which is rather blurry, appears to show him running, and the officer's report said that this individual had a handgun. A handgun was later recovered from the scene, okay? So in response to seeing this young man running with a gun, they fired multiple shots at this 18-year-old young man, fatally wounding him, okay? A handgun, of course, as I mentioned, was later received or recovered. So there was retaliation by the father, who is Rodney Hinton Jr. So the following day, basically the family went to the police station, okay, and to watch the video and meet with the chief, etc. After this situation, Rodney Hinton Jr., 38-year-old Rodney Hinton Jr., the father of Ryan, returned to the scene at approximately 1:05 p.m. on May 2nd. While Deputy Ryan Henderson was directing University of Cincinnati graduation day traffic, Hinton floored his car across several lanes, intentionally striking and killing the deputy. Now, it's important to note that this deputy had nothing to do with the death of his son. Now, again, this man, Rodney Hinton Jr., was charged with 2 counts of aggravated murder, 1 count of murder, and 2 counts of felonious assault. And they're pursuing the death penalty on behalf of this. Now, Rodney Hinton Jr. has pled not guilty to these charges, basically pleading temporary insanity as a result of the trauma of watching his son being killed. Okay. And they say that he argued that he didn't understand the wrongfulness of his actions. Okay. So these are the facts of the case. But I will say a few other facts that I haven't covered. First of all, it should be noted that my understanding is that Ohio is, or at least this area, is an open carry state. That's number one. That's a fact. Okay. Another fact of this case is that this 18-year-old had actually slept and stayed the night in this vehicle that was reported stolen. Now, to what extent and how the vehicle was reported stolen, I don't know. And I want to make something abundantly clear. I don't agree with the actions of Mr. Hinton. I think that he put himself at 18 years old in a very dangerous situation where he could face a dangerous outcome, right? You're sleeping all night in a stolen vehicle with a firearm. This is a recipe for disaster, and disaster is what came. Law enforcement showed up. He decides to run with the gun in hand, according to what the cop said. And the video, you can see him drop the weapon. That's what they're saying the video is showing. He drops the weapon, and then he picks it back up, and he's running with it in hand. A lot of very strange decisions that were made by Mr. Hinton Jr., okay, the young man, the 18-year-old. Now, here's my thing with this. I want America, as I said to my people, my community, when the young man stabbed the young kid out in Texas, I told the people, the community, that we have to understand that 2 things can be true at the same time, right? So it is true that Mr. Hinton was committing a crime and was doing something very dumb in getting out the car, running from law enforcement with a weapon in his hand. I feel like that's a very bad decision for him to make. That's true. But I also believe that it is true that this law enforcement officer has a responsibility to follow the law. And I will tell you this. I think that there's few jobs in the United States of America that require public trust more than that of a law enforcement officer. The community needs to trust and believe that people who have the authority to enforce the law, people with the authority to take life on account of the law, we have to trust that these people are going to make the right decisions at the right time. There's no debate. We must trust law enforcement. We must have a sense of confidence that even in tough situations, that they will make the right choice. We also need to trust that their superiors, that those who write the laws, that those who call themselves the chiefs of police, that when they report on incidents that happen, that they're going to tell the truth about the events that happen. We must trust this. But this is not what we see in these cases. What I've seen in this case, I should say, is people, including the chief of the police department, make statements that do not align with the facts.
Let me be very direct. We cannot allow individuals to flee from officers with a loaded firearm aimed at them. However, based on the officer's interviews, the officer who did discharge his firearm said that when the individual came out between the dumpsters, he had the firearm in front of him. He was in like a bladed position, and it was pointed at the officer. And he felt threatened for his life, and that's why he discharged his firearm.
After watching the footage of Ryan Hinton exiting a stolen car with a handgun, then dropping the handgun and picking it up as police chased him, and then turning towards the officers.
So what I'm going to do is put on the screen a screenshot of the young man fleeing from this law enforcement officer. Why am I showing this? I'm showing this because I've heard multiple platforms on social media, including the chief of police, say that the young man pointed a weapon at the cop, number one, and number two, that he turned to face the cop. Number two, those are two things they're saying happened. Why are they saying this? Because they're trying to paint the picture that this young man was a dangerous threat. Why are they doing that? Because they know in their conscience that running with a gun is not enough in itself to justify killing someone. So they have to have some more on top of it, right? So what is the more that they're saying? The more is what I just have described. The more is he turned and he pointed. The problem with that is the video doesn't show that. This is where I have a huge problem. A huge problem. Because you cannot, on one hand, claim to be someone who stands for the truth, for what is right. You cannot claim to be racially neutral and not allow race to cloud your judgment, while simultaneously manipulating the facts to defend a law enforcement officer in killing a young man. As I say, two things can be true at the same time. Yes, the young man should have obeyed the order of the law enforcement officer, but his refusal to do so does not in itself give law enforcement the right to justify killing him. In my opinion, there should have been more, and there has to be more. And this is how you know people are lying. This is how you know that there needs to be more, because they're lying on the truth to try to persuade people to believe that what the cop did was right. This is a problem. We have the video. It's not crystal clear, but what is crystal clear is, number one, the young man had shot no one. And this is my question. If you perceive him to be such a deadly threat, you have to justify why you believe that. Who had the young man threatened to kill? Who had the young man shot? No one and no one. You pull up to the scene to investigate this supposed stolen car. He gets out the car and runs with the weapon. What does that mean? If his intention were to harm you, don't you think he would have fired at you? Don't you think he would have done something aggressive towards you? He got out the car and ran, which in itself implies a desire to get away, to escape from being caught by law enforcement officers. And isn't this what law enforcement signed up to do? To catch criminals. People are talking about this case as if law enforcement's job is to kill people. Yes, law enforcement has the authority and the right to kill under certain circumstances, but that's not their primary responsibility. The primary job of law enforcement is not to kill. And sadly, we see a trend in America. Let's put this in perspective. That young white boy who shot up those two innocent people at the University of Florida 2-3 months ago, right? Somehow he shot and killed people, but somehow he is magically able to be taken into custody. Certain people get shot by law enforcement. Somehow they're able to just be taken into custody without being killed. A young black man's running, hasn't shot anyone. Not saying he's an innocent angel. I'm not saying that. He was a criminal. But law enforcement's job is not to kill. Their job is to capture so that a magistrate may sentence them. Judges are the ones who have the ability to judge, not law enforcement officers, to judge to this extent. Meaning a lot of y'all believe that black people are inherently dangerous. You believe that. Oh, and the crime stats say that and all this other stuff. Listen, using statistics to justify hatred, using statistics or any data to try to justify your hatred is foolish. It's folly. You're better off admitting that you have a problem and seeking to get help for that problem. And no, the help for that problem doesn't involve getting into a romantic relationship with a black person or having a black friend. That's not the solution to the problem. And I'm just going to say that because I know a lot of people. Oh my gosh, I could tell you stories. You know, I had a woman call me interested in the property that I have for rent. And she asked me 2 questions. Is it a majority Section 8 neighborhood? No, it's not. Second question is it, I heard there's some crime in the neighborhood. There's some crime, but this particular building, this particular area, where the property is at is very safe. Okay. So on and so forth. Third question, is the community majority black? Well, ma'am, I'm black. I'm African American. In so few words, I dismissed her and wished her good luck on her endeavors to find a place to live. Oh, but my sister's boyfriend's black. I didn't mean it like that. It's the first thing people want to do. So don't think that because you have a black friend or because you're sleeping with a black person that you don't still have bias against black people. Let's just be honest. I get tired of hearing it. That's the first thing people with bias want to say. Oh, I have this black friend. Man, get that crap out of here, man. Nobody cares about that. No, that's BS. Do you call out the racism that your people have committed against black folks? Is the only question I need to have answered. Because here's the thing, as I say from the beginning, 2 things can be true at the same time. Yes, there's a lot of criminal black folks out here committing foolishness left, right, front, back, and center. And that's a problem. And that's something that I talk about on this channel. I hold black folks accountable on this channel. I straight up do. But the thing about it is this. Justice and truth don't have a complexion. Meaning that I could get on white folks, black folks, Chinese, I can get on anybody. My question is this. Do you do the same? Do white folks do the same within the white community? Do they get on their own people for the foolishness that they do? Because it's easy. And what I see is so many white folks will look at the condition that that y'all put black Americans in. Not fully and 100%, but you get what I'm saying. The historical complexities of what has happened to my people here in America has led to a lot of the foolishness that you see. But it's so easy for some of these people to point the finger at the black man or the black woman or the foolishness of black people in general. But they will have nothing to say about the exploitation and the things that their people have done to black America over the centuries. So it's just a question. Do y'all hold white folks accountable? Righteousness don't have a color. Black folks can do righteousness. White folks can do righteousness. Chinese folks can do righteousness. And the opposite of that is true as well. Good and bad don't come in colors, family. I'm sorry. Let me put it to you more plainly for you self-righteous white folks. who want to talk about FBI crime stats, etc. Do you realize what your people did when your people were in a tore up situation, when your people didn't have the resources that they needed to go and do this and do that? Do you know what your people did when they were experiencing less hardship than what black folks have experienced? Do you know what your folks did all over the whole world? Like, I don't want to run the tape, but we have to be honest with ourselves about this, right? You can't act self-righteous is all I'm trying to say. We have to be more balanced in our approach in terms of how we understand life and history. This is my point. This is my point. So, family, I want to hear your opinion on this case. Do you think this was a justified shooting? And if so, why? Do you think that this young man turned and faced the cop and pointed the gun at this person? And if so, why? Do you think that this cop should be held accountable and that the city is liable for civil penalties, for civil damages on behalf of the Hinton family for the killing of the 18-year-old young man? Sadly, I don't think that the cop who killed him will be held to justice. And I also do not believe that the city will have to pay out this Hinton family. At the end of the day, personally, if that were my son, you know what I'm saying? If that was my nephew, etc., I'd have made damn sure he wasn't out there in that type of situation. I'm not gonna lie, family. I wouldn't have never wanted my child to be in that type of situation from the rip. Okay, I'm gonna deal with mine if he out there with that foolishness like that. What is you doing, sleeping in the car with? I'm gonna deal with you. I'm gonna deal with you for real. If you're my son, if you're my nephew, if my little cousin, I'm gonna deal with you because we don't want to have to be in this situation as the Hinton family, right? Because we know what, and this is my admonition to my community, right? I know that there is a God in heaven who sits on high and looks low. See, I'm telling you this. I need you to understand this. The word of God say, whom the Lord love, he chastise. See, the Lord is dealing with our people, and the Lord will allow certain things to come upon you, or he will protect you from certain things, depending on you, depending on the decisions that you make.
This individual slips, trips, whatever, falls on the concrete right here. Other officers that were also there say in their interview, they heard the firearm hit the concrete. They heard the metal from the firearm hit the concrete. This individual gets up, still has the firearm in his hand, and continues to run through the dumpsters.
So you got to be careful in this world, in this system that we in this system that we're under, because they show no mercy. And if it ain't for the angel of the Lord protecting you, I'm telling you. So you bet to stay under God's grace. That's the best thing you could do, to not allow yourself to be put in these types of situations. But as I say again, whom the Lord love, he chastised. The same way the Lord will bless you richly for following his commandments, the Lord will also allow certain evils to come upon you, because that wicked one wants you. That wicked one wants to destroy you, family. I need y'all to understand that. That wicked one wants to destroy you. So when you remove yourself from the covering of God's grace, from the covering of God's protection, when you grieve the Holy Ghost, as it were, and you do not repent from your wicked ways, then you can find yourself in a situation where you're outside the umbrella of God's protection. And I'm telling you, family, it's a thunderstorm out there.
Let me get this off. He had no business being on a stolen car, man. He had a bed to come home to. He slept in a car. He couldn't get in the house. All right. He called me like 6-9 times, like 12, like between 12 and 1. He called me trying to get in. Text me. And I was asleep. Ryan, I'm so sorry. This was never supposed to happen to you. Ever. I'm so sorry, Ryan. I'm so sorry, Ryan. Just know he wasn't supposed to be there. He wasn't supposed to be there. He wasn't. He was scared. He tripped and fell. He must have been so scared. I'm so sorry, Ryan. Just that, like, everybody just talking shit about him. Just know he wasn't supposed to be there, y'all. I'm sorry.
Yes. You got to make it through the night. You got to make it through the storm to get to the better days. I'm telling you. Why? Because again, as I said before, whom the Lord love, he chastise. Whom the Lord love, he discipline. And that discipline is good for you. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. See, so we got to get out this mindset of always trying to point the finger necessarily at the white man, and more so we deal with ourselves, because we know what? This is not about competing. The Lord says what? It's actually a command. It's a commandment of God that you do not covet your fellow man. Not to covet his dog, his house, his woman, nothing that belongs to him. Coveting is a sin. So yes, you can look at the things that other groups of people have done. And you can look at these things and say, wow, I wonder, I think, I did. It's like you can ponder on it and learn from it and grow from it. But at the end of the day, you got to lay your own, you got to do you. You got to build your stuff. You got to do what you got to do. And let the Lord work through you. Because you got to understand, this is the Gentile times we're living in. But what do the words say? Come after the Gentile times. See, so the point of the matter is you need to be strong so that you can be standing. Because the same way every kingdom that came in the past had a begin and an end, according to the book of Daniel, has a time. The Lord also prophesied the Gentile time. And he also prophesied the end of the Gentile time and that which cometh afterwards. So these are all lessons and things that people need to understand, family. And if you understand the totality of these things, it helps you and it prepares you to make better decisions with your life. With your life. Because this thing is serious, man. This thing that we call life is serious, man. It's serious. Of course it's serious. You know what I'm saying? And the best thing you can do is stay blessed. You hear me? And to be blessed is to be whole and to be true and to be honest with yourself. To be divided and weak, that's not a blessing. That's not to be blessed. I'm telling you. So y'all stay strong, man. Hey, family. Do right. You understand me? And rest in peace, man. Rest in peace to the young man. And again, I'm praying for that community out there in Cincinnati, man. So like, share, subscribe, fam. Comment below. Tell me what y'all think on this topic of discussion. All right, till we chat again, I'm up out of here.
Larry Henderson dedicated 37 years to serving, first his country in the United States Marines, then Hamilton County as a sheriff's deputy.
I have no doubt that Larry's larger-than-life persona can live on indefinitely through the memories he made with us.
Henderson remembered not just for the badge he wore, but for the heart he brought to every call.
He could calm and de-escalate situations so subtly that many did not even remember how upset they were.
Henderson wasn't a complainer, never made excuses.
"It's all good, man," was his constant catchphrase. He was the epitome of keeping it light, keeping it positive, and keeping it simple.
Others also found comfort in Henderson's presence.
He often relieved me several minutes early. If I were telling him about a parking concern or an unruly patient I had been dealing with, he would simply take the radio and the key card from my hand. As he said, "Go home, I got it." When Larry said, "Go home, I got it," we all knew that everything was going to be just fine.
And now, in the words of Henderson's law enforcement brothers and sisters, we'll take it from here.